call to order the March 17, 2025 meeting of the High Point Regional Board of Education. Please stand for a flag salute. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Open Public Meetings Act statement. New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted at the Augusta, Branchville, and Sussex post offices, and notice sent to the New Jersey Herald, the Sunday Herald, and the clerk of the boroughs of Branchville and Sussex, and the townships of Frankfort, Lafayette, and Wantage. Our mission statement. High Point Regional High School, in partnership with staff, family, and community, is dedicated to the quest for individual excellence. By fostering high standards of achievement, we prepare students to become responsible and productive members of a diverse society. May I ask for roll call?
Mr. Dunn?
Here.
Ms. Diaz?
Here.
Ms. Ball?
Here.
Ms. Longer?
Here.
Ms. Orsi?
Here.
Ms. Palizek?
Here.
Ms. Schuman?
Here.
Mr. Van Stone?
Here.
Ms. Wise?
Here.
Dr. Ripley?
Here.
Okay. A motion will now be made that the High Point Regional High School Board of Education enter executive session to provide an update on legal, personnel, and negotiation items which are exempt from public participation pursuant to New Jersey Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, Open Public Meetings Act. Any discussions held by the board which need not remain confidential will be made public when appropriate. Minutes of the executive session will not be disclosed until the need for confidentiality no longer exists. The board will reconvene in public session, in person and virtually, at the conclusion of the executive session. It is not anticipated that any action will be taken. So I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. I have a motion to return to public session?
Motion.
And a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, return to public session. Going to the agenda, approval of minutes for the regular meeting, February 25th, 2025, and executive session minutes of February 25th, 2025. I'll make that motion. May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any comments, corrections, discussion on those?
Okay, Ms. Wise?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Ms. Longberg?
Yes.
Mr. Van Stone?
Yes.
Ms. Gall?
Yes.
Ms. Schuman?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz?
Yes.
Ms. Halasek?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. So brings us to our first public comment section of the evening. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, we will open to public comments for agenda items only at this time. Each speaker should state his or her name and address. You will have 3 minutes to address the board, which will be timed by myself. We will limit this section to no longer than 45 minutes. Please be respectful and mindful that your comments are being recorded. If anybody would like to make comments in the room, our podium, or our virtual, we're seeing no emails at this point.
Nope.
So with that, may I have a motion to close public comments?
Motion.
And a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on to presentations. Mr. Kyle Levansky, Speaker of the House, update us on student council.
Good evening, everyone. So obviously I went over this last month, but for March we have patience as our theme, and as always we had a presentation that was done in correlation with a slideshow in the morning, and we also had the mandala painting craft in the hallway, which would be right in front of the office. We had that, I think that was last week or the week before. To help aid that theme of patience. And for the class of 2025, specifically my class, we're going to do a double good popcorn fundraiser from the 18th to the 22nd. And the dinner cruise deposits for the senior dinner cruise were due on the 14th. And for the Six Flags senior trip, the second deposit is on the 31st of March. For both of those events, there are Genesis contracts that you need to sign in order to be eligible to actually go to the events. For the class of 2026, they have their prom bids open, and they will be open through April 7th. And now for the seniors specifically, there will be an ice cream event in the senior courtyard for class of 2025 on March 25th, which will be something that we will try to continue doing throughout the rest of the year. So on or around the 25th of the month, we will be doing events to celebrate the class of 2025. I also heard that it was kind of being considered that we might do the second of the month and the 5th of the month, if 25th would say the weekend or a day off. That's all I have for today. Have a good night.
Thank you. Don't see our PA rep. So I think we're moving on to principal's report. Don't tell me.
Done. Good evening, everyone. How are you doing? Thank you, Mr. Nancy, for all your great information and the additions that work we have here. First and foremost, before we get started, I'd like to recognize an individual that's here tonight and also somebody that couldn't be here tonight before our Governor's Educator of the Year. You can see Mr. Campbell's put some pictures up there. Mr. Smith is here. Mr. Smith, could you just please stand up so I can They may recognize Mr. Smith. I gotta stay Sam Smith, that works. Mr. Smith from the wrestling mat or the football field, or we were just talking about track, which just started last week. But this award comes through nominations from peers based on educator excellence in the classroom. And Mrs. Sarno, who heads up this committee, did a fantastic job, and I couldn't be happier and more proud for Mr. Smith and all that he represents in the classroom. on our mats, on the football field, and also on our track. He's one of the throwers, obviously, in terms of that part as well, because he exemplifies and models what we want as educator excellence through and through. And that's a really important concept. That's not easy to achieve. And I'm very proud of Mr. Smith, and I'm very proud that he was nominated for this award. So another round for him. Anything that you want to say to the group, you're free to talk if you like to.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Now I said to Mrs. Holder, who is our educator support professional here, that I'm going to talk really loud and I'm going to clap really loud, because Mrs. Holder is our school nurse, for those who do not know, and she was recognized and honored as our support professional of the year. So you can applaud for her. Surprisingly, we actually got her picture because Mrs. Holder does not like any attention, unlike most of us. But we ransacked her office the one day, Mr. Campbell, and we kind of said, "This is we're coming in, we're getting a picture." She had no choice, there's no picture there, so she had to say, "I got to take care of her kid." But again, Ms. Holder epitomizes the excellence of what we want our professionals to do every single day. Being a nurse in a high school or any school is a very, very difficult task. And she is professional. She takes care of all of our students. She keeps me calm in situations that may arise, that be medical related for students and staff. She's an excellent asset to our school. So another round of applause. And thank you very much for that. Let's move on to some school activities, if we could. We had recently in March, it's been busy. We've had DECA State Conference, which 3 of our students were able to go and experience what that was like. Led Mrs. Emma, we had Fred Ogres, and we had Hannah and Rebecca Ripley. Some of you may know them personally. And they had a great experience. I'm very proud of them. And they recognized how big the conference is. When they went down there, it's down in Atlantic City. I forget the exact location of where it was in Atlantic City, but they recognized how large the DECA, Harris, right? How large the conference and convention itself is for DECA. So really great experience for them. Very, very proud of them and what they represent for us. And as they look to the next chapter in life, whatever that may be, it's a great experience for them to build on their resume. We also had Teen Arts. I talked about that coming up before. And now Teen Arts has gone through last week, and Sussex County Community College, again, is a great partner for us because they invite, I was there, probably about 900 students from all the high schools and middle schools and elementary schools across the county. So a pretty cool experience. We had over 100 students that participated at Teen Arts. For those who don't know what Teen Arts is, it's artwork, it's singing, it's music, it's dance, it's media, radio broadcasting, it's poetry, it's everything in between in terms of that aspect of it. So I want to recognize a few that are moving on. There's many awards, too many for them to mention. They rank them based on, it could be going to the SEC gallery, it could go on to the state Teen Arts, it could be chosen for a special SEC exhibit somewhere in the county, or it can be chosen for other areas around the county to be displayed. One of the biggest recognition areas from that is going on and advancing, being voted on to achieve and go to state Teen Arts, which is later on in June, centrally located in Trenton. We'd love to have that and have some students that participate. So in poetry, we had 3 students, Leo Castillo, Sarah Wynn, and Kaden Strell, all recognized and moving on to the state Teen Arts. In our visual arts side of things, we had Katie Branch for Fragmented Florals, Natalie Faber for Apollo, Julia Moscow for Beneath Leaves, Angelina Sampson for Aperture, and Nora Van Stone, so you may recognize that last name, for Lynn Cindy, I believe is how you pronounce her artwork. Again, what they do and they represent their passion. And it's really cool to see that. Very thankful to our performing arts teachers, our fine arts teachers, our media tech teacher, Mrs. Strout, who goes and takes students. She actually leads like a poetry slam that I was part of, able to sit on, which is a really neat experience to see our students so raw and innocent in those aspects, standing in front of strangers and sharing their poetry. So really kudos to them, and thank you for them, again, working through that to give our students, for our students to shine. Some upcoming events that we have next week. We have our March 26th is our college and career fair, focus on career. There will be colleges there as well as military, but we have a tremendous amount of careers coming in to support and offer our students. We've had students get jobs from that career fair in the past. We have students that have been able to establish some type of internship along the way. So it's everything from contractors in the area to banks in the area to other corporations in the area. And it's a really great experience for our students. So thank you to the guidance department in particular that have really spearheaded this and tried to broaden the pathways for our students. And it's a really good opportunity for our students to be part of whether they're choosing the career, military, and or college down the road. Later on, as we get and that's open to all of our students too, just so you know, it's not just for our seniors. Later on, as we get closer to May, we'll talk about what we call our career, college, and military decision day. Used to be just focused on college decision. We like to celebrate all of their decisions and what they're doing in their next chapter. And then last but not least, before I shift over to athletics, is All Shook Up is coming to us, as we talked about previously. That's April 11th, 12th, and 13th. That's our spring musical. Our students are working very diligently on that. We're very excited about that. We'll be party for a while today about kind of where things are at. It's a tremendous amount of rehearsing that they do. They start literally when they come back from December break all the way through into April. So it's very intensive. It's longer than any type of winter sport that we have. It's really an awesome experience. So tickets went on sale today, which is the 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day, by the way. Forgot that. Tickets went on sale today, and it's a 7 o'clock show, and a 2 o'clock show on Sunday. Looking for tickets for that. You can always talk to Dr. Cook yourself if you can't get the information that you need. And then shifting to athletics, that's okay, Mr. Dunn. A couple things, obviously spring sports have started quickly. We were spoiled a little bit because usually when spring sports start, Mr. Smith knows as a coach, it's not 70-72 on the Monday that it began, but it was, which was a really nice blessing to have when we were stuck all stuck in the gym trying to figure out what to do. Along with that comes the March reminder that today was a little bit cold and chilly. March is still here, so we're happy for that. But I want to talk really about a couple things for wrestling, and particularly as we wrapped up the season. High Point was a District 1 champ. I'm very proud of them. We had several significant achievements by individuals, so wrestling becomes team all the way through, and then eventually it gets to a certain point where they're going to go on to what districts, regions, and then down to Atlantic City, and then the top 8 individual qualifiers will be what we call as medalists across the state. So I think there's probably 400 or so wrestlers that go down to Atlantic City, and the top 8 of each weight class are recognized. However, out of that, we had Nick Clayton, who's a senior. He moved on to and lost the 3rd round of WrestleBacks, which is intense. Mr. Smith can talk a little more about how intense it is, but it's intense. It's a lot of wrestling in a short amount of time to maintain that, to wrestle your way literally back into the qualifying rounds. But on the girls' side of wrestling, we had the next opportunity to crown a 2-time state champ and a 1st-time state champ. So on Saturday, we had the girls' wrestling finals. And Ella Palil, who was crowned champ last year, repeated for the 2nd year, and she held up her 2 of 4. That was her indicator that we were looking to go 4 in a row. It was very businesslike watching her. She was actually the first weight class to wrestle, 152, so it was exciting to watch that. She was very businesslike. I think it was 318, something around that. She pinned the girl, and it was done and over with, right? So it was exciting. We moved on, and Elle Shannon Grease is a freshman. She's a 114-pounder, so 152, and it goes up, and it goes all the way back down. She comes on, and it was one of the most exciting matches I've ever seen in my entire life. I almost had to find the ADs during the part aspect of it because she was just like an absolute animal out there. And she was up, I think, 14-1, 14-2, something like that. 12-2, it was a lot, too little. And the girl that she was wrestling was a returning state champ as well. So I think she was undefeated in the year, and she was returning state champ. So all of a sudden it was 14-0, it was 19-14, and Elle pulled it out and won at the end. But I had to have a couple palpitations in the middle. It was really exciting. And I thanked her for that excitement. I said, next time, a little bit less excitement. We're just not getting old. It's really cool to see that experience for our girls wrestling. And again, seeing that program grow. Obviously, the boys program, as Billy has taken over that program this year, is founded in tradition. The girls program is building that tradition as we speak and becoming a powerhouse in the state, which is a really cool honor to see them down there and get them moment to shine as well. So just want to make sure I highlighted that. I know I had to take place a little while ago, but I want to make sure I didn't miss that. Okay, any questions on any of that? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say for our 2 recognized staff, teachers, support staff, that Ms. Holder was instrumental in helping us get through the COVID years. Without her, she was a great source of comfort and someone who inspired my confidence rather quickly, because I don't even know that I interviewed her face to face. And I think the first time I ever met her face to face was, and so she was just fabulous getting through a very, very difficult time. And Mr. Smith, I've known since he was a freshman in high school on the first day and sitting in the front row in the window. I had him in world history class as a freshman. And I remember when he was majoring in education at Rutgers, I said, well, please don't take another job until you talk to me. because we want people of such character and ability as Mr. Smith be a part of our kids' lives. And so we're very blessed to have them both.
Attorney Mr. Campbell for curriculum and instruction.
Thank you. Congratulations to Mr. Smith and Mrs. Holder as well. Last week we completed our first wave of state testing, the graduation proficiency assessment for our juniors. I want to thank Ms. Jessica Briggs from the curriculum office. She could be a valiant in the battle. The amount of organization that it takes to move 1,000 moving parts for 2 consecutive days, it doesn't sound like a lot of state testing, but it is incredibly exhaustive as far as organization goes, and our staff and our students did a fantastic job. So thank you to all for helping to make that not just a manageable, but a very successful 2 days. And we look forward to getting those results back in May and being able to support students based on those results however they need. Our next wave of testing will be the end of May. I'll back up for a second. AP testing, the first 2 weeks in May, which is very exciting. And then the NJSLA later in May for 9th graders and science for our juniors. So it's a very good testing. We're required by law twice a year to present on student safety data and our kids. So very briefly, we do our major presentation with our assistant principals in October. Just a brief statutorily required presentation of where we're at. So the data here is from essentially September through December, or July 1st through December. Clearly not a lot goes on in 1 month. If you look at that, those numbers on the right, they represent the first 5 months of the school year, and the numbers to the left represent the previous years in the aggregate. So that gives you a perspective. It's approximately half the area that I've highlighted. Substance abuse continues for the 3rd year in a row to have higher incidence. I think there's no mystery to that. The epidemic of vaping and the bold and persistent way that we've pursued that is the result that we have some high numbers in that area. You look at the specific breakdown, when you see fights 6, could be misleading. That represents 3 altercations where 6 individual students were suspended. Again, substance use it is something that we don't turn a blind eye to it. It is exhaustive. Mrs. Sarno, Mr. Emma, Mr. Palame, Mr. Rice, Mr. Osborne, our retired security staff. It's a lot of work all day long, but we are determined to protect our children and to be bold in how we deal with what truly is an epidemic. Just wanted to give you an update. The yellow represents where we're at in the aggregate for this year. So you see there have been 3 altercations, 3 assaults, 11 fights, 12 confirmed use of substance, and 23 possession. We don't take these numbers lightly. I don't mean to be dismissive with the glancing way in which I presented it. These matter, they matter deeply, and we pour a tremendous amount of resources into prevention and into supporting the students that are at risk. For our harassment, intimidation, and bullying, the first reporting period of the year, we did 16 investigations. 4 of those investigations determined that we had a confirmed hit. 7 code of conduct, 5 unfounded. An update as of Friday, 6 confirmed hits. Again, you would like that to be 0, but if you go back here and you look at the bottom line there, that's over an 8-year period roughly of our annual total confirmed hits. So we're in the ballpark of where we've been. Again, we would like this to be less, and we work very hard to try and reduce it, but we are transparent and accountable for how we manage this very important issue. We have tremendous support. Our guidance department, we've invested our MTSS program. One of the things we've spoken about is when we look at our suspension numbers, we now have internal suspension. We believe in many instances that we can keep students with us on campus. Every student that's in internal suspension has a meeting with their guidance counselor and or their case manager if they have an IEP every day. We don't put them in a room and forget about them. It is, we remediate the issues, we support the student, we show them caring and kindness and hope to remediate the behavior. So we put a lot of resources into managing the conflict and into trying to prevent future issues. Adjusting student schedules, trying to make sure that certain students are, particularly while there's a need of a cooling off period, have some separation from one another. We care about this greatly. Smart Pass, Mr. Talamay, Mrs. Sarno, Mr. Emma in the main office, they advocated for this. It has been an absolute game changer in our school. The order that our hallways have now, the students are in class, and we have a digital system that determines when there's a vacancy and when they can leave. And it's not a 20-minute wait. Sometimes it's a 90-second wait or a 2-minute wait. But it simply says that bathroom is being occupied, your pass is in the queue, you'll get a green light to leave in about a minute. So we track where the students are. More importantly, we're able to manage who's in what bathroom and what they're up to, so that leaving the room is for the right purpose and not congregating with friends or to break the rules. So it's really been very effective. Dr. Ripley and Mr. Wright oversee our anti-bullying procedures. Mr. Talamay, Mrs. Sarno, Mr. Emma in the main office are the backbone of our management and behavior. Our HIPAA information is transparent. All of it is online, and anyone listening tonight is welcome, of course, to reach out with any questions whatsoever. Any questions on SSDS or HIPAA? Yes.
I just have a question about fights and assaults are divided. What is the difference between those two things?
Sure. There are some instances where two students might get into a shoving match, and it's considered an altercation. It's not appropriate. An assault typically is a more aggressive act, and typically an assault occurs where one person is clearly the victim and the other person disproportionately brought that conflict on. So a verbal altercation escalates into a shoving match, which is a traditional fight. When someone's walking along and another person is angry about a social media post from 4 hours ago, and they come up behind them and punch them, that's an assault. That person is just walking along, and it's a very big deal, and we want zero, but we deal with adolescents, and we have moments that are quite serious.
It does sound to be a rather provocative term, assault, but it's where two people are not mutually engaging, where there's one aggressor and one person who does not fight back. That's an assault.
Just another quick thing. Just want to show you some images. As Natalie mentioned, Teen Arts, huge success. Dancing, singing, sculpture, videos, music, just really an incredible day. Over 100 students participated. And last Friday, our math department celebrated Pi Day. We had t-shirts. Every single math teacher did a hands-on, unique lesson. The whole upstairs, people were out in the hallway doing interesting things. We had t-shirts. And then, I love this, I love these communal experiences. Mr. Drellick and the math teachers organized a pie eating contest. We had a bracket for March Madness, and that was the preliminaries. So we had so many students show up for the semifinals that we opened up the entire side of the gym for the finals. It was awesome. So the kids went down there to lunch. They got quite a kick out of it. There you see Wilson Hall, our champ, and it was just a lot of fun. And it's nice for the students to have a fun way to connect what they're learning. I don't think anybody went home that day not aware of what pie was. So
Okay, we have no other business, so moving on to action items, curriculum, instruction, and technology.
Okay, so items 1 through 3 are the faculty attendance, student attendance, and suspension report for February. I'll move items 4 through 7 together. Item 4 is the harassment and intimidation bullying report from February 26th through March 17th, 2025. Item 5 are the field trips, and there's an attachment for that. 6, professional development activities with an attachment. And item 7 is that the recommendation that the superintendent, by the superintendent and the board approve the attached methods of administration that concludes an investigation and compliance review required by the United States Department of Education Office for Civil Rights for recipients operating career and technical education programs of study. The administrative findings cited in the High Point Regional High School MOA Voluntary Compliance Plan have been fully implemented effective February 28, 2025. The compliance review was conducted from October 3rd through October 21st, 2022 to ensure program services and activities were equitable and open to all students. So making a motion, seeking a second.
Second.
Any discussion?
Ms. Schuman?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz?
Yes.
Ms. Palisek?
Yes.
Ms. Gall?
Yes.
Mr. Van Stone?
Yes.
Ms. Longberg?
Yes.
Ms. Wise?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. Next is personnel. You're up.
Okay, let's move items 1 through 5 together. Number 1 is approving Family Medical Leave Act. Sorry, not the act, the Family Medical Leave for an employee. Number 2 is approving 6th period assignments as listed. Number 3 is approving Rosemary Gephardt as a home instructor. Number 4 is accepting the resignation of Kevin Murphy. Number 5, approving substitutes as listed. And that's it. Any comments? No, I shouldn't say. Sorry. Can I get a second? Second. Thank you. Any comments or questions? No? Roll call then, please.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Ms. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Van Stone?
Yes.
Ms. Schuman?
Yes.
Ms. Palisek?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz?
Yes.
Ms. Gall?
Yes.
Ms. Longberg?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. Under extracurricular, I'll move items 1 and 2 together. 1 is a recommendation to approve Cam Lake as volunteer boys lacrosse coach for the 2024-2025 season. And item 2 is a recommendation that the board approves the individual listed as unified track aides for the 2024-2025 school year at the regular hourly rate, which will be a unified grant system. So I make that motion. I have a second. Any discussion? Comments? Thank you again to our volunteer coaches. Roll call, please.
Ms. Schuman?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz?
Yes.
Ms. Gall?
Yes.
Mr. Van Stone?
Yes.
Ms. Longberg?
Yes.
Ms. Wise?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Ms. Palisek?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. Let's get back to you, source of 1 policy.
One item under policy regarding the second reading of the following new policy, spectator code of conduct for interscholastic events. I'm making a motion, seeking a second. Second. Any questions or comments? Well, okay.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Ms. Schuman?
Yes.
Ms. Palisek?
Yes.
Mrs. Diaz?
Yes.
Mr. Van Stone?
Yes.
Ms. Wise?
Yes.
Ms. Longberg?
Yes.
Ms. Gall?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. No negotiation items, no buildings and grounds, so moving on to finance, I'll move items 1 through 5 together as a block. 1 is a recommendation to accept the report of the Board Secretary Business Administrator for February 2025. 2 is a recommendation to accept the report of the Treasurer for February 2025. Item 3 is a recommendation to approve the report of transfers and minimum expense transfer report for February 2025. Item 4 is a recommendation to approve for payment the attached schedule of audited bills dated March 17, 2025. And item 5 is a recommendation to accept the adult education agency account, athletics account, cafeteria account, construction account, principals, petty cash accounts, scholarship accounts, school store, and student activities reconciliations for February 2025. I will make that motion. May I have a second?
Second.
Comments or discussion on any of those? Straightforward. Okay, roll call please.
Okay, Ms. Horsey?
Yes.
Ms. Gall?
Yes.
Ms. Longberg?
Yes.
Ms. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Van Stone?
Yes.
Ms. Schuman?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz?
Yes.
Ms. Palisek?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. Okay, that brings us to item 6, which is a resolution for the tentative school budget for 2025-2026. The beginning portion, which relates to travel and related expense reimbursements. I'm not going to read verbatim, but basically it says that we have to have policy and approve travel and related expenses. So further on down the page is the continuing resolution, adoption of the budget for the 2025-2026 school year. Be it resolved that the budget be approved for the 2025-2026 school year using the 2025-2026 state aid figures, and the secretary to the High Point Regional High School Board of Education be authorized to submit the following budget to the Executive County Superintendent of Schools. And that table shows total expenditures of the general fund of $24,775,726, plus special revenue of $554,839, yielding a total expenditure in the total column of $25,330,565. Less anticipated revenues, $6,347,861. Special revenue equal to the expenditures of $554,839, yielding a anticipated revenue of $6,902,700. Therefore, taxes to be raised for the general fund, I'll go right to the total, is $18,427,865. And I'm not sure where the double asterisk, I guess that applies to the entire table. And we can expand on this later. This includes a 2% increase and a health care adjustment with those figures noted. So, be it resolved that the High Point Regional High School Board of Education approves the levy of general fund taxes for the 2025-2026 school budget to be $18,427,865. This budget addresses health and safety issues related to facility, capital spending, student-centered items, and program integrity. And to advertise said budget in the New Jersey Herald in accordance with the form suggested by the State Department of Education and according to law. So I will make that motion. May I have a second?
Second. Yep, you.
Any comments or discussion on the budget? Give everybody else an opportunity before I will ask your forgiveness while I get on my soapbox for a minute or two. So I usually make a comment at the beginning of the budget season or vote that I consider this one of, if not the most important vote that I make as a board member, because it is through our budget that we fund the operations of the school, and it is the fundamental step to impact student achievement, directly, indirectly, however you want to think about it. And we are the duly elected representatives of our communities, our respective municipalities, that get to weigh in on that decision. At least that's how it's provided for in statute currently. I had, and this isn't so much for the rest of the board, this is maybe for the public, wanted to give some background on how we got where we're at. The landscape of education, finance, and funding. So first at the state level, and then maybe how it affects High Point. Public Law 2007, Chapter 62, first limited a board's ability to increase tax levy over the amount levied the previous year. A few years later, Public Law 2010, Chapter 44, revised that cap to the current rate of 2%, and made it permanent, whereas the previous was meant to be sunset after 4 years. So since then, since 2010, every public school, High Point included, municipal government, county government, and a number of other public bodies have lived with a 2% constraint for almost 15 years now. During that same period, the full implementation of the School Funding Reform Act of 2008 was brought to bear with significant revisions in Public Law 2018, Chapter 67. I apologize for all of these statutes, but they ultimately dictate how much each district receives in state aid. State aid being, next to the tax levy, the next largest piece of income that schools get. So, according to this new funding formula, the details which were never released to the public, even though there was a class action litigation to that effect, many urban and suburban districts throughout the state received increased state aid, but others, predominantly in rural areas, like you guessed it, Sussex County, received less. I will just say that our local representatives were either powerless or ineffectual in changing any of that situation in Trenton to our benefit. So as far as High Point is concerned, we have lost, I think, just shy of $3 million, I don't know the exact number, in state aid over the past 7, 8 years. Close enough, right? 8 years. That includes a loss of, I think, roughly $70,000, maybe it was a little less, in the
75 this year.
75 in the current year. So while comparatively that's peanuts to what we lost prior to that, High Point is one of only 2 districts in the county that actually lost state aid money this year. So I'm not trying to put anything other than facts out there. I'm not looking for empathy but just to put it all in perspective, there was one year, I think fiscal year 2022, High Point lost almost $800,000 in state aid. Vernon and Apacon lost that year over $2 million each. The same year, Newark School System received an additional $85 million. And look, I'm not trying to make a political statement there. I am a firm supporter of public education. Everybody is deserved of their free and fair education, but just to make a comparison of what we have had to deal with, we have one hand tied behind our back because of the 2% cap, and then we have less income coming to us via state aid progressively, and it has been difficult to deal with. So while constrained by the statute of 2% increases for 15 years running, while yet having the state aid reduced by millions of dollars, while also experiencing high inflationary increases affecting our transportation, energy, and practically every other purchased material that High Point is involved with, we have fortunately over the past 3 years not exceeded the 2% cap, and in a number of years have not even used the full 2% amount that was available to us, in recognition that our taxpayers were struggling, and if we didn't need it for our own uses here, we weren't going to take it. So that is all preparatory to the fact that the current budget does exceed the 2%, which is shown under the table, right? There is an amount that was available to us as a 2%, the 2% cap, if you will. We are, however, not using what we have put in the bank being that which we did not use in the previous 3 years. We're in a unique situation, however, in that somehow the state determined that insurance costs, healthcare costs, went up so extremely, an extreme amount I guess in the state, that they have offered the ability to use a healthcare adjustment, something else that is part of the state statute that goes back to 2010, right? Which is available to us only in 1 year. Is that correct?
That is
It's only
correct.
used in the current year. So, based upon the needs that we felt we had with capital outlay and some other planned things, and just the desire to maintain our programs and our staffing levels, the superintendent, in conjunction with the finance committee and business administrator, we have decided to exceed the 2% cap and utilize that healthcare adjustment that is available to us in the current year. So that's it. So if there are any other questions on that, I will direct them to Scott first, but if he can't, then. So I just wanted to lay that out there, somewhat for the board, but also for the public to understand why the need to do so in the current budget. That's the end of my comments. I used up all of our time, so.
Given the fact that it is a one-year outlay from the state regarding healthcare costs, and it's going to presumably every district in the state, it is anticipated that most districts will utilize that one-year allocation. And I anticipate this almost categorically among districts. Well, I'm sure not everyone will, but it will likely be many, particularly districts who have lost state aid to such a degree that arguably it would be irresponsible to forego that increase permissible by the state for 1 year.
Roll call, please.
All right. Ms. Palasek?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz?
Yes.
Mr. Van Stone?
Yes.
Ms. Longberg?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Ms. Wise?
Yes.
Ms. Gall?
Yes.
Ms. Schuman?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. I will move 7 alone. As a recommendation that the board approves removing the attached list of old outstanding checks in the net payroll account and monies be moved back to the general fund. These checks have been outstanding for multiple years. So I'll make that motion. May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Van Stone?
Yes.
Ms. Gall?
Yes.
Ms. Longberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schuman?
Yes.
Ms. Wise?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Ms. Palasek?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. So I did that so I can move 8 alone. 8 is a recommendation that the Board of Education acknowledges and gratefully accepts a donation from Thor Labs in the amount of $2,000 to support our annual STEM League event with Wallkill Valley for our respective sending districts, which will be held at Wallkill Valley this year. So we'll make that motion. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Any comments or discussion?
I just want to recognize that Florida Labs has been a tremendous partner with us to provide our students with opportunities that they otherwise would not have, and to have a local business that immersed in the community and that dedicated to the success of our students is not only greatly appreciated, but I also believe that it serves as a conduit for our kids to work at Thor Labs. So we're very appreciative and thankful for that relationship.
Mrs. Diaz?
Yes.
Ms. Palasek?
Yes.
Ms. Schuman?
Yes.
Mr. Van Stone?
Yes.
Ms. Gall?
Yes.
Ms. Wise?
Yes.
Ms. Longberg?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. I will move the remaining items under finance 9 through 13. 9 is recommendation to grant permission to Dream Extreme Dance by Nikki to host a non-affiliated dance recital on June 14th, 2025. Item 10 is a recommendation to grant permission to the High Point Youth Wrestling Camp to host a non-affiliated co-ed camp grades K through 8, running June 23rd through 27th, 2025. Item 11 is a recommendation to grant permission to the Summer Speed, Agility, and Strength Camp to host a non-affiliated co-ed camp grades 6 to 9, running June 30th through July 3rd, 2025. And item 12 is a recommendation to grant permission to the High Point Football Camp to host non-affiliated co-ed camp grades 2 through 8, which will run May 18th and June 8th, 2025. And finally, item 13 is a recommendation to approve and authorize the execution of the following tuition contracts between High Point Regional as descending and the following districts and related information as listed. Making that motion, may I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Ms. Schuman?
Yes.
Ms. Gall?
Yes.
Mr. Van Stone?
Yes.
Ms. Longberg?
Yes.
Ms. Wise?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz?
Yes.
Ms. Palasek?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. That leaves us with transportation.
Alrighty, I will be moving 6 items. First one is, well, we got lots of contracts. First one is contract, second one is a transportation agreement. Third one is a quoted contract. Fourth one is transportation agreement. Fifth one is renewal contract for transportation, and the sixth is for a trip. So just a note, a lot, which I learned as I get involved in this, a lot of these things get on here just because of our special arrangement, which Dr. Ridley has talked about a few times, but people don't know, sometimes these are really just a way we're bringing money in the issuance of these contracts, and it's not money we're spending, but they all have to be approved. So anyway, I am moving those items. If I could have a second.
Second.
Does anybody have any discussion on those items? All righty, roll call.
Ms. Diaz?
Yes.
Ms. Wise?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Ms. Longberg?
Yes.
Mr. Van Stone?
Yes.
Ms. Gall?
Yes.
Ms. Palasek?
Yes.
Ms. Schuman?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. We have no correspondence. Standing item under miscellaneous. We're okay there. So our second public comment section of the evening, same rules apply to this section, where we're not limited to agenda items. Do you have anybody who'd like to make public comments? Anyone online? No. Okay, won't keep us here long. Can I have a motion to close public comments?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, any non-committee board member reports or comments at this time? Don't think I see any. Motion to adjourn, please.
Motion.
Is that all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Sorry.